Absolute scenes at Kramnik HQ. Social media's on fire. What on earth is going on? What's prompted this post? Well, the drama's all to come. But first, we need to dive in on some chess. We're picking up here with Hans Niemann versus Dimitry Andreikin, Title Tuesday, aka Cheating Tuesday, according to Vladimir Kramnik. And this is a brilliant game in and of itself, but it sets up this epic climax to the tournament and then the drama to come. All will be revealed. Let's dive in on some chess. Hans goes e4 and we get pawn to c ships. The Caro-Kann defense, or will it be a Caro-Kann? Clock time's on the left. This is online, blitz chess, elite players, and Hans goes d3. Quirky system. He's allowing black to take and whip the ladies off the board if Dimitri so wants to do so. But he doesn't do it. He's a crowd pleaser, keeps all the pieces on the board. Now we see knight c3, takes on e4, pawn recaptures, and pin and win, baby. Classic move. Dimitri makes a small whooshing sound as he brings that bishop out. h3 puts the question, and so often you see captures, queen takes, e6, stick on the board that rock solid structure with the bishop gone. However, it drops. Provocative, sacre bleu. Bishop c4 now from Hans, eyeballing the f7 pawn, so e6 blunts the way, biting on granite now, and do you castle the king? No. We see queen e2. I mean, Hans has got one hell of a style here, I have to say. Knight d7 comes on the board and g4 for the score. So many games this tournament I could have brought you tonight. Incredible, exciting chess. Bishop g6 and it's entombed. Look at that one. Nothing to actually do right now but hit on a pawn. We see bishop d2. Wait, hang on, stop it. b5 played, bishop dropping back. Dimitri's celebrating after knight c5, about to get the bishop pair, but Hans doesn't care. Look at his attacking plans. He now goes e5, bringing this bishop out of jail. Why would you do so? Well, he does free up e4 for his own pieces, but gives up d5 as well. Potato, potato. We now see takes on d3 with check, and of course the pawn is forced to recapture. Very ugly structure for Hans, but he does have space. We do now see an exciting game developing. Knight e4 comes, now knight d5. What could be more natural? But the bishop dominates from d2, and now here we have it. The moment's arrived. Andrea starts spinning the beats because Hans goes queenside here with the king. We've got a fight on our hands. We love it. Even Magnus comes speeding through Hans's head at this point. He's got the world champion of blitz in his mind. Now we see a5 played. Always play king b1, or so says Hans Feingold. Now we get bishop e7, rook c1, eyeing that femme fatale. Always awkward when you're being x-rayed, and possibly there are these ideas in the air, sitting on the head of this backwards pawn. So Dimitri plays a risky looking move, but a good move, c5. He's going for that white king, gaining space, and you can't actually take advantage of this stuff and these pins right now. We're not going to click down the line. King a1 played, stepping off the long light squared diagonal. Knight b4 comes in response, of course looking at that sensitive d3 point. And Hans now responds with a great move. He goes bishop g5. Nans Niemann, has he got the power here? He wants to exchange the dark squared ones. You know, if takes, then you can flick in this immediately, I presume. Apparently there's an even stronger move of rook takes on c5. Makes sense, the bishop was covering, but you know, there's problems. So Dimitri plays the very weird looking move. He could actually castle here. He goes bishop f8, completely forgetting which way his pieces are moving. Hans could centralise the rook, but no, more aggression, wants to trap that bishop. It's almost mummified, so h5 played to fight back here, and now the game goes absolutely nuts. You can go a3, or again centralise a rook or something, but Hans, not wanting to back down from a fight, he plays the stunning knight to d4, using the fact that this pawn is pinned or else the queen drops, and now he attacks this one here. but he's also left the defense of this one here. You know, why doesn't the queen capture? Well, takes here, and the lines are actually quite decent for white, but it is playable, the queen taking here. But none of that selected. Queen d7 instead. It's a stronger move. You step out the pin, you prepare to actually take this knight, and you cover the pawn. Win-win on all fronts. What to do? Hans finds the absolute best move here. This is really, really lovely chess. Queen to f3. What a move. Hitting this undefended rook in the corner, and that's why if you take this knight, let's say with the pawn for example, because this is the nicest line, then you can check from here. Well then, if you saw these themes of not only this, but now you actually lead to a mate, bit like that famous Morphy game, right? The bishop supporting, I think it was a rook though that finished the knight at the opera. Really, really nice stuff. And if you take with the queen, you get similar problems with all of this nastiness happening. So you can't touch the piece. That's why we see queen d5. Intercepting on that long diagonal. Knight c3 now aims to get rid of the queen. And again, it's just a swashbuckling move, right? You know, can't you take? Well, no, there's still the pin here. Can't you take here? Well, no, there's an attack here. It all works out, so the queens finally do leave the board. Knight recaptures. This is the point. You can just save that knight now, and we see takes on d3. But no two ways about it. Dimitry, significantly better. What's Hans got planned here? He's also on this pawn. Well, he has to sack an exchange. You try and move the rook, and these pawns start rumbling, right? Very bad. So we see takes on b5. You take me on c1. I go to Forktown, population U, win your rook, technically is still better for black. Even stronger is rook b8, just hitting the knight. Remember, this one is supported, but none of it played. Rook c8 selected, covering the square, very natural, but now Hans can fight back. He starts with takes on h5, saying if you take me on c1, yes, you get the exchange, but I take here. Then your knight is still hanging, so you have to do something. Then I take with check. It does get messy, so that wasn't played. Instead, we see the move of bishop e4. Such a rich position. You could have taken here with the bishop, or there with the rook. Many options. This was played, attacking the knight. Now rook hd1, more counter-attack chess. You take me, I take you, but hang on a minute. You know, can you not literally take an entire rook here? Surely this is just a free exchange. No, again, once more, checkmating tactics. A la Paul Morphy, the rook's forced to take. This then forces a checkmate when you leave the back rank. This one is an absolute monster. Bishop f8 now looking very ugly instead of castling. So we run back here. This is exhausting, all the tactics, right? But not as exhausting as watching these guys, by the way. Shout out to them. They emailed me through, running around, moving the pieces all over the place with their hands and getting the physical exercise in. Love it. Very, very nice chess. Thanks for the emails for those of you that do send them through. We now see played on the board here a mistake, c4 to cement the knight, but it allows Hans to fight back. Knight e1 best, missed. He goes knight d2, attacking the bishop, so it saves itself, coming to d5. Again, if you take, then there was knight takes, big counterplay, so this was a good move. Now we see the rook saved here. Knight takes on e5, black still in the driving seat, and h6 is a must to go for the counterplay. If captures, there's bishop f6, double hit on two unprotected pieces, but not played. Knight c3, Hans headed in the completely wrong direction, and look at Stock Barnacle, poop its pants, black in the driver's seat. f6 played to kick this bishop, drops back to f4, rook takes, a big bishop seesaw is set up on g3, in between these pawns, but there's no Marjorie door. Black's doing well, bishop b4 finally re-enters the game. a3, they're both playing on seconds now, so we're just going to stick with it. Dimitry gives up his bishop pair. Now he should go a4 to clamp if he's going to do this. He got rid of the knight, which was attacking the bishop, fine, but he misses the continuation. Plays rook d8 here, and now there's the opportunity to just take on e5, then win on c4. But Hans goes knight f1, manoeuvring, knight d3, natural, but a mistake. We now see knight e3 in response here, hit c4, and how do you defend it? If you go here, for example, simple tactics, this one loses a piece on c8. So instead, we see this move of a4, clamping now, but too little too late, because this pawn drops. Now we see bishop takes, rook takes, and how do you defend a4 now? More uncomfortable problems. If rook a5, you run into this, and you get an absolutely kebabbed over here, hitting two rooks. If instead you go for this one, now you've got tactical problems. You just left the defense of the knight. Knight c5 playable, but clumsy. These rooks leave the board. So none of it played. We see rook b5 going for the counterplay. Hans wins the pawn. This one goes to fork Vegas, but he's just in time to take the rooks off with check. Now check again. The king saves itself. Bishop d6 check, and Hans rotating the pieces here with check, cement the pawn, and although the endgame is level, he's got the outside runner here. He's got the pressure. He's just got an edge on the clock. Dimitry trades, do not like that move. Knights are very tricky devils, but he's looking to simplify. Is still a drawn position here, but things get weird. If you try and save the h-pawn with h5, then rook f5 comes, you still win it. So this was played. Hans activates the king. We've got 2 on 2. Now the b pawn starts running here. Huge drama, and wait, a blunder. Jump back. The king should have come to c7. Then if you check, you make your way to b8. You stand in front of the pawn. Very instructive. But this was played. Going for the counterplay. The 2 pawns running. Now b6 takes the space. f5, b7, rook a1 check, and Hans's king driven into the danger zone. He is now winning this endgame. g4 played, rook e5, f4 to save that pawn, but he now goes wrong. Technically, in this endgame, he should check. And the key idea is that wherever the king goes, you now give this one some breathing room on c8. Here's one sample line, or let's say rook f5, coming behind the pawn. Here's how it could go. Yes, you can now cover this pawn with rook a3, like we see in the game, but then the king has the chance to sidestep. This is the big problem, the difference in the lines. What we see here, though, is this, and it brings the bar back to level. g3 played, captures, pawn takes back, rook g4, rook a3, and there's no king c8. You can't step to the a file either, so Niemann moves the rook, of course, but the king bouncing back and forth. Now we've got this level position. Deadlock should be a draw, but no. There's drama still on the way here. Niemann brings this king around, then runs it back. Now after king b8, we see Dimitry get ambitious, brings the king to f5, but then suddenly turns back. King a7, still a draw, but you have to go say rook a3 check, or pawn g2. Probably what spooked Dimitry was after king b6, looks like this is just going through, and it is, but g2 is a saving grace. If you queen, black queens with check. If you come behind the pawn, now I presume, yep, you just start checking, you're in time to stop this pawn. This was the way to go, but not played. We see rook c7 pinning laterally, but it's a terrible blunder. Rook g4 comes, and when this king scurries over after the pawn drops, white's in time to now consolidate, even take the rooks off the board. It's lost. If you'd come here, by the way, to stay with the rook, then we make the baby girl, whoops, not a knight, that won't do the job. This is the way to do it, and of course that's lost. So here, Dimitry, after this one, resigns the game. Niemann takes it home, but this is the astonishing bit. Look at the leaderboard here. He not only wins the early title Tuesday, Hans Niemann, on the 24th of September, but Kramnik comes in second. What to say? There's only one thing for it. Kramnik recognizes it himself. He has to do a double procedure on himself and Hans Niemann.
Okay, let's do the procedure. Block. This is first what I do.
Absolute scenes, and as you can see, there was a few comments flowing in the Twitterverse here, or X, call it as you will. Pure drama, we love to see it, although we don't love to see Vladimir Kramnik accusing everyone left, right and centre, as he was doing once again. Please have a day off, Big Bad Vlad. We're getting a bit tired of it. Hope you enjoyed this one. Smash subscribe if you did, and check out the video on screen for another epic game of chess. Cheers.